Hello, viewers. Thanks for watching my show, MAO Chat. This is a show that gives Miss America fans and volunteers the opportunity to get to know title holders. My guests today are Miss Alabama 2019 Tiara Pennington and Miss Tennessee 2019 Brianna Mason. Welcome to my show, ladies.
Thank you for having us.
It's such a
Thank
pleasure to
you.
have you. It's such a pleasure to have you. When I advertised that I was interviewing you guys, Chloe Hubbard said, I love them both. And of course,
Oh,
I'm just like her because I'm such a big fan of you guys. So, my first question is how did you first get involved in pageants? Anyone go first?
Tiara, you can go first.
Okay, I'll go first.
Mhm.
So I first got started a long, long, long time ago. Really, honestly, I say when I was a little girl,
Mhm.
because my mother competed in the Miss Alabama organization back in the mid to late 80s.
Okay.
And so even when she was finished with actually competing, she decided she would start being a director, a local director for the organization.
Mhm.
And then my grandmother ended up being a field director with the organization
Oh,
as well.
cool.
So I remember being a little girl traveling with my grandmother and my grandfather to different
Mhm.
local competitions and being so excited to see these young women up on the stage performing their talents. And I thought, they're so beautiful, but at the same time, they're so smart.
Right.
And then when I was old enough, I got involved in our Rising Star program, which in a lot of other states, they call them the princesses or the princes.
Oh,
And
okay.
here we call them rising stars. And so I was a rising star from age
Cool.
7 to 11. So that gave me the chance to really know a lot of the older girls a little bit more personally. And I
Mhm.
thought, wow, not only are they beautiful and talented, but they're super nice. And
Right.
I remember just them hugging me, giving me all kinds of gifts, and just telling me, you can do this, you can compete. Don't be nervous, and just really giving me the confidence that I needed.
Cool.
And then when I got old enough and didn't feel like, oh, this is too scary, I can't do this, I
Mhm.
decided I would compete in our team organization.
Oh, okay.
So I competed for 3 years, was lucky and so blessed to win on my third and last year.
Cool.
And that just opened so many other doors for me and gave me the opportunity to go to my dream university, which is at the University of
Nice.
Alabama. Got to
Mhm.
go to nationals, meet all kinds of wonderful young women that I still connect with to this day and still keep in touch with. So that's pretty cool. And then I decided, I'm just going to take a year break
Okay.
because I've been doing this for so long and I just want to kind of enjoy my college experience.
Mhm.
And it didn't take too long. And I was like, man, I got to do this again because I went to Miss Alabama and I said, oh, I missed that. So
Yeah.
I competed for 2 years and here I am. I'm Miss Alabama and already have been to Miss America. So that's kind of the whole story about me.
Cool. Brianna, what about you? How did you get involved in pageants?
Um, my story is like literally the exact opposite
Okay.
of Tiara. I did not know anything about pageants
Hmm.
when I was a little girl. I didn't compete in my first pageant until I was a freshman in college.
Oh.
And that was like a pageant that my school put on. It was called Mr. and Miss Freshman. And I was
Okay.
like, this was fun. I want to try some more because I really enjoyed doing that, and I
Hmm.
enjoyed performing my talent. My talent's piano. I've been playing piano
Right.
since I was in third grade, so
Oh.
I kind of already had like a talent that I could perform on stage.
Right.
And so I literally Googled pageants in
Uh
Tennessee,
huh.
and up came the Miss Nashville pageant. I was like,
Okay.
hey, I'm from Nashville. That's my hometown.
Uh huh.
Cool. I didn't know that it was a local for the Miss Tennessee organization.
Right.
So I did that, had literally no idea what I was doing, did not win, but
Oh, okay.
I like learned about the Miss Tennessee organization,
Hmm.
and I learned about Miss America. And I was like, oh, they get scholarships. Oh my gosh, like this is
Right.
amazing.
Hmm.
And I just like followed the Miss Tennessee organization that year and watched the live stream of
Right.
of of the pageant that year. And I was like, okay, next year I'm gonna win a local and I'm gonna compete for Miss Tennessee.
That is
So
very cool.
yeah, and so
Very
the next
cool.
year I won Miss Knoxville,
Uh huh.
and I went to Miss Tennessee for 4 years and won on my fourth try.
Cool. Yeah. When Tierra was talking and you mentioned, I started thinking about scholarships, like you mentioned, and I think that's amazing that young ladies can get that scholarship money like she won with the teen, and help you pay for college. That's like priceless. Amazing,
Yes.
amazing.
Hmm.
So Brianna, it took you 4 times to become Miss Tennessee tier. It took
Hmm.
you 2 times to become Miss Alabama. Did you ever feel discouraged or defeated, or how did you keep the drive to keep going until you won?
Oh man. Well, yes. So my first year, I didn't even make the top 15,
Oh,
but
okay.
like I wasn't upset. I immediately was like, "Oh, I have to do this again." Like I was like, "I have to try again." Like I think I'm going to win this. Like I
Wow.
am going to do this. And
Right.
so the second year that I came back, I went from not placing at all to third runner up.
Wow.
And I was like,
Impressive.
okay, oh no, this is like something, this is something that I can actually do.
Uh huh.
And so my second year, I went up to second runner up, and then my fourth year, I was like, there's no other choice. Like I have to,
Mm-hmm.
I have to win. It was just like that drive of this is something that I felt like I was, um, I was meant to do,
Mm-hmm.
and I just like had that feeling, and everything that was happening in my life was leading me to achieving that goal. And
Mm-hmm.
my family was there every step of the way,
Nice.
encouraging me. I had the same director for 3 years in a
Oh.
row, and she like really helped develop me as a contestant, a candidate.
Right.
Um, and I just really found myself, found who I was,
Mm-hmm.
um, learned about who I wanted to be in, what kind of Miss Tennessee I wanted to be in. um, I just I just
Right.
kept going, and it was hard at times, especially
Oh.
this past year, but
Yeah.
um, I just knew that this was something that was for me,
Right.
and I had to keep going.
And you're a great Miss Tennessee because I see all your amazing posts online and things like that.
Thank
What about
you.
you, Tiara? How did you do the first time, and then how did you get the strength to to come back?
Well, it was so crazy. I mentioned earlier how, I took a little break, but then that summer that I said I was going to take this break,
Mm-hmm.
I went to Miss Alabama and I thought, oh no, like I can't take this break. Like I have to compete because I just realized at that point after teen that, I really do love this organization. And I think when I was competing for teen, it was more about, oh, I really need to win this because I want to be able to go to school and to graduate from the university of my choice
Mm-hmm.
completely debt free.
Right.
And so it was a lot of that pressure of, I don't know if I'll be as good as my mother because my mother placed in the top five. And
Uh
I
huh.
don't know if I'll be good like my mother. I don't want to embarrass my family. And
Wow.
I knew that all these Miss Alabama people knew who I was as a little girl. So it was those nerves of thinking, am I going to live up to this girl that they've always thought will do good in the organization?
Wow.
So once I kind of stopped doubting myself and
Mm-hmm.
stopped thinking about what everyone else thought about me,
Yeah.
it was one of actually my former Miss Alabama sisters, Jessica Proctor Gilmore. Now
Mm-hmm.
she came up to me. She's a former outstanding teen, and she said, "Tiara, everyone already loves you, so you have nothing to prove. You just need to go and be yourself."
Right.
So I just took that advice because I thought that was the best advice. And so I went on and said, no more worrying about anything. I'm just going to do this for me because I love to compete. And so my first year, I went in just trying to figure out, was this going to be for me? Did I really want to compete in Miss? Because we always in teen consider that to be the big girl competition.
Okay.
So I went my first year and ended up in the finalist position and got in the
Oh.
top 15,
Cool.
then
Okay.
got into top five and was like, oh my gosh, well, I'm good. I'm in the top five. I'm so glad that I'm here my first year. I'm not going to win. Like, I'm not going to win. This just does not happen. And I thought about how young I was and how I was thinking about college and all those different things that I wanted to do and accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm standing next to Callie Walker, who ended up winning that year,
Mm-hmm.
and thinking, oh my gosh, here I am my first year standing up with Callie Walker, who I look up to as well, and ended
Right.
up being first. So I was first runner up my first year. And that brought up a bunch of different nerves my second year because I'm thinking, was that just good luck? Did those judges just really look
Oh.
like, was that panel just made for me? And is it going to go downhill from
Oh
there?
yeah.
I thought anything below first,
Yes,
I'm probably
down.
going to be a little upset about that. So I went back my second year last year and was so nervous, but I had a wonderful support system, and I
Okay.
ended up representing my university, which is the University of Alabama.
Mhm.
And that really just was a growing experience for me because that was the first time that I felt like I can be Miss Alabama. I can do this. That wasn't just luck, even if
Oh
I
yeah.
win or I don't win, I know I'm prepared for this job. And so I went
Right.
back and was just confident in everything that I had done. And I knew that regardless, that I was just going to be happy with myself and ended up winning. So that was my story. There's ups and downs, like Brianna said, where you doubt yourself or you think, gosh, I don't know if I can do this anymore, but you just push through because you love it and you understand what it means to represent your state.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have videos of both your crowning moments that I want to play for the
Oh
audience.
God.
And then after the audience watches the videos, I'm going to ask you what were you thinking, what were you feeling because Tiara, I know you were talking to the person you were with, right before. So
Right.
yeah, I'm just curious like what are you guys thinking and before right, right in that moment. So if it's ready, I would like to watch the crowning moments of Miss Alabama 2019 Tiara Pennington and Miss Tennessee 2019 Brianna Mason.
Ooh, everybody take a breath. Here we go. The first runner-up and winner of the $3,500 scholarship is Charity Galvin. Our new Miss Alabama, Tiara Pennington, Miss University of Alabama.
Okay, I will read first runner-up, which means the remaining candidate will be your 2019 Miss Tennessee. Tonight, your first runner-up is Lauren Dixon, Miss Lexington. Ladies and gentlemen, for the first time, your Miss Tennessee 2019, Brianna Mason, Miss.
So I was at home watching your pageants, rooting for both of you. You guys didn't even know me back then, but I was rooting for both of you. So how were you feeling in those moments, the crowning moments?
Oh man. I I was actually pretty calm like the
Okay.
whole final night. I
Mm-hmm.
was just like, okay, okay, gotta do my question. All right, let's do my talent. I was just like, let's just
Step by
do
step.
this. Let's just
Right.
do it. And I just like was so focused on each part of the competition. I was
Mm-hmm.
like pretty calm. But then by the time it got to me and my first runner up, Lauren,
Uh huh.
I was just like, my whole I don't even remember what I was really thinking. I was just kind of just like, okay, well, I'm here and this is a moment that I've imagined for
Right.
so long, like
Yeah.
dreamed about this moment, daydreamed about this moment, thought about what it was going to be like, and when, they call my name as Miss Tennessee, I just remember, oh my goodness, somebody go get my mama.
Uh
Is she on
huh.
the floor? Like, I know she's like
Right.
probably like a hot mess right now. And I immediately was just like, looking for my mom,
Mm-hmm.
trying to make sure that she um, was okay because this was like something that even though she's like literally not a pageant mom at all,
Uh-huh.
she did not. She was like, "You want to do pageants? What? Okay, whatever. Sure, I'll be there."
Okay.
Um, she like was just excited that this is something that I wanted to do. I set my mind to do, and I
Mm-hmm.
actually achieved it.
Right.
But I think what really was a moment that I will cherish forever is just that realization that I had made history
Yes. Yeah.
as the first Black Miss Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
And um, of course, like that had always been in the back of my mind
Right.
as like this, this could possibly happen and I could possibly be the one that
Yeah.
makes history. But it was just like it still blows my mind that like
Right.
I was like God chose me to be that person.
Yeah.
Um and yeah, and then I just cried all my eyelashes off.
What about you, Tiara? What do you remember what you were saying before you were crowned, or how were you feeling in that moment?
Lord, I just recently saw that video because I think that's the first time, like when I was getting ready to send it to you, that I had watched it all the way through.
Uh-huh.
And of course, after you win, people are coming up to you and they're like, "Did you hear the audience when you won?" Like people were going crazy, and just seeing like all your sisters that you competed with to support you, and just watching that video. I'm not a really emotional person either. I feel like I've always been super strong and being able
Mhm.
to contain like my emotional side. But
Right,
every
right.
time that I see, and I've watched that thing like 7 times now, 7, 10,000 times.
Uh-huh.
And I get so emotional because from what I can see in the video, I know that I'm telling Charity Bowden, who was my first runner up, that I love her because I
Oh.
really do, because I've known her since we were little teens together competing in the
Oh, wow.
organization.
Okay.
So it was a surreal moment to be standing up there with someone that I knew really supported me. And even
Uh-huh.
when I was at Miss America, sent me all kinds of devotionals and sweet
Oh, that's
cards and
nice.
notes. So that's the kind of person that she is.
Mhm.
And so I remember just thinking, if whether I win or you win, I just love you. And I think I
Oh,
said
that's
I
so
love you
sweet.
all the way up to the point of when I realized that I won.
Uh-huh.
And then I just literally hit the deck. I could not believe it. And I saw these different videos of like literally my extensions about to fly out of my head because she was shaking me, and I'm just like so emotional and so overwhelmed at that moment. And there's these hilarious pictures of like where you can see my real hair and then
Oh
the
my God.
because we were both just so overwhelmed in that moment. And it was like this wave of energy just kind of
Uh-huh.
took over my whole body.
Yeah.
And, all I'm thinking is, oh my gosh, like I just won Miss Alabama. We haven't had Brianna being able to make that history as the first Black to hold the title of Miss
Mhm.
Tennessee. And then thinking, I'm the second in, such a long time, almost
Right.
23 years. And
Right.
what was really special about that moment is that Kaylin Chapman James, who was the first Black to hold the title of Miss Alabama, I remember growing up as a little girl, and she would be there emceeing Miss Alabama, and I got to know her family and her sweet girls who are around my age. And she always said, you're going to be Miss Alabama one day. I just know it.
Mhm.
And, she's telling me that. I'm like, oh my gosh, like Kaylin Chapman James, the legend, just said that to me, and I believe that. And so she
Right.
was there that night. And I remember she just always supported me during this whole process. And I remember going to the stage and of course finding my mother and being like, Mama, I won. And then my dad, and then my short grandmother who's 4'8", and then seeing the judges thanking them, and then also shaking Kaylin Chapman James's hand
Yeah.
and taking pictures
Mm.
with her, and just thinking, it's us too. And I hope and pray that in the future there will be many, many more diverse women
Mhm.
holding this position. So it's a moment that I will never forget,
Mhm.
and definitely will never forget with that video, watching it over and over
Yeah.
again.
Well, I want to thank you guys for like having the strength to keep going. Many times people say things are bigger than themselves, and I really
Mhm.
do feel like this was kind of bigger than yourselves. Like, you're the first Black Miss Tennessee. Like, imagine if you would have just like gave up. You know what I'm saying? And the
Yeah.
second Black Miss Alabama, like that's amazing. And you're paving the way. And racism is something that is really big in our country. It always been, and especially now. So hopefully, things will just get better, and people can just be judged based on their character and their
Mhm.
qualities, and it's not an issue anymore. So I just want you guys to know you are very important in history, and I'm glad that you guys, kept going and made that history. So let's talk about Miss America. What are some of your memories, experiences, anything you want to say about Miss America? How was it?
Oh my gosh. It was it was just like the whole time I was just like, I'm just happy to be here.
Right.
Like I was just like, and it just was like tripping me out because somebody who didn't grow up really watching Miss America, like
Uh-huh.
I the first Miss America I ever watched was when Nina Davalori won. So
Oh,
that
okay.
wasn't even that long ago.
Right, yeah.
And like um I'm a huge history nerd, and
Okay.
so I, of course, when I started getting into Miss America, I like did a whole bunch of like history research on,
Okay.
the background and the story about Miss America, and so that was just like I was geeking out that I was part of that. I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm part of history. Cool, it's so cool, and just to think that like that's something that I'll be able to tell my grandchildren one day. And
Uh-huh.
I was just excited to be there representing my state.
Yay.
And so that, like, even though there were some changes and we
Oh
never knew
goodness.
what was
Yeah.
happening the next day, I
Yeah.
think just me being grateful for being there and the friends that I made, that definitely like overshadowed all of that. I was just like, just happy to be there.
Yeah. Cool. What about you, Tiara? What are some of your Miss America memories?
I would have to say I totally agree with Brianna. I mean, you're there at Miss America and someone who has literally grown up throughout the organization. Like I was fangirling all the way. And I was just
Mm.
thinking to myself, I'm here at Miss America somewhere that I've always wanted to be and
Mhm.
never really thought I would ever be here because it's like how many little girls who start out in Rising Star programs actually become Miss Alabama or hold a state title and actually
Mhm.
get to be here in this moment. And I just thought about all of these young girls who would have wanted to be in my position, and here I am. So just being super thankful and blessed for this opportunity. And one thing that I always kept in mind from the moment that I won Miss Alabama was that I don't care if I win or I would lose Miss America. Like it would
Mhm.
be an extreme honor to be Miss America, but that's not my goal. My goal has always been to represent my state to the best of my abilities.
Uh huh.
And so I knew that I was just confident in who I was and that I was here representing my state. So I wanted to do that again to the best of my ability. And just knowing that a lot of people thought that about me, it just made that whole experience even that much more special. And just all these different friendships that I
Mhm.
gained that made everything so worth it. And I know that it will be a memory that I hold for the rest of my life.
Right.
So just a great experience, regardless of like Brianna mentioned, whether you knew what was going to really happen, it didn't matter because you were there. And again, just taking one day and one step at a time and just going with the flow. And that's something that I really
Yes.
have learned this year's Miss Alabama is that, we think as humans that we have control over everything.
Yeah.
And we don't have control over nothing,
That's true.
absolutely
Nothing.
nothing.
Right.
And, when we don't think about when nothing that we usually have thought about comes,
Uh huh.
looking like that,
Right.
or that experience that you've always dreamt about
Yeah.
actually happens that way, you kind of are like, oh, like I don't know, but you just never know until you're there. And so you just have to take each experience, as it comes and just be grateful for it.
Cool. Brianna brought up the subject of changes. So what were your guys' reactions to some of the changes? Specifically swimsuit, the elimination of swimsuit. I'm just curious, how did you react to that? What were your thoughts?
Well, I had competed in swimsuit for three years.
Uh huh.
And so, but it wasn't like something that I was super attached to. I was like, and especially like at the point of it was about to be my fourth year, I remember saying this to somebody. I was
What?
like, I don't care if it's a juggling competition or whatever. I'm gonna do the competition because I want to win Miss Tennessee. I want to hold the title of Miss Tennessee and do the job of Miss Tennessee. So whether I have to go and juggle or walk in a swimsuit, that's what I'll do because that's part of the the process of doing what
Right.
you got to do.
Right, right, right.
And so I know it came with a lot of opposition, but I think we're moving towards a new time,
Uh-huh.
and um, we all know, especially as title holders and as fans and people who have experienced people who compete in the Miss America organization, we are so much more than what we look like, just
Mhm.
like so much more.
Right.
And so I think that it was good that we were able to showcase a different side
Okay.
than people normally would have seen if they were watching a competition. But either way, I was like, swimsuit or no swimsuit, I'm still going to do the competition. This doesn't
Right.
deter me from doing the
Yeah.
competition
Right.
because
Yeah.
I'm going to do what I have to do to to compete
Right.
and get the title.
Cool. What about you, Tiara?
Honestly, again, it was one of those things where I have just learned to go with the flow.
Mhm.
Actually, when I figured out and found out that at Miss America that year that they would not be having a swimsuit competition, that is when we were actually at Miss Alabama my first year, and I was getting ready to go on stage in a swimsuit. So I thought, oh, this is fun. Y'all get to see my bod this one last time, and then we're just gonna keep on going. So I just remember thinking though, and one thing that I don't really care that we have swimsuit or, it's gone.
Right.
I did appreciate it though when it was here
Hmm.
because for me, it was never about having this perfect body because
Uh-huh.
it wasn't about that. But I felt so healthy and I felt so confident in myself when I walked out on that stage for the first time. And this is coming from someone that rarely goes to the beach and wears a swimsuit. So it
Okay.
was definitely something that was out of my comfort zone,
Okay.
but I felt so good in what I had accomplished and achieved. And so this next year, when I actually won Miss Alabama, I thought, I can just continue on with being healthy and making healthy options and choices without someone having to see my figure. And, as was mentioned earlier, this organization is so much more and has always been so much more than just a beautiful face and a beautiful body, that
Mhm.
it has always been about what we bring to the table as intelligent, smart young women who are literally changing the world in all kinds of different fields and areas of expertise. And
Mhm.
so, for that, I'm just so happy with this organization. I'm glad that I got to
Mhm.
represent Alabama this year with all the different changes. And I just can't wait to see what happens from here on out with the organization.
Okay, you both are actually cracking me up. You guys are funny, funny. That's cool. So let's talk about social impact initiatives. Brianna, yours is Advocates for Autism, and Tiara, yours is National Psoriasis Foundation Take Action. Can you just tell like something significant that you were able to accomplish with your social impact initiative?
Yeah, so I was inspired by someone who's really close to me, and she has autism. And what I wanted to do was create an organization that not only was raising awareness for autism, but
Mm-hmm.
also created an inclusive space for those that are on the autism spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's all started out as a student organization at my university, the University of Tennessee, Knoxville. And then just with hard work and I don't even know the grace of God, somehow this I turned this student organization into a fully fledged nonprofit organization.
Mm-hmm.
And that is just something that I never thought that I would be able to do. And it literally would not have been possible without the skills and the confidence that I've gained through the Miss America organization.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was able to raise thousands of dollars for autism awareness efforts in the state of Tennessee. And now we not only have a college organization at UT Knoxville, but
Mm-hmm.
also two other universities in my state. And we're hoping to gain some more college organizations, um, hopefully across the country one day. But it's just been such an amazing experience working in the nonprofit sector. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like, it's like another job, and it's something that I will continue to do even when I'm not Miss Tennessee anymore,
Mm-hmm.
because this has become like one of my my passion child. What is
Right.
that called? You know, like my
Yeah.
thing. Yeah. And so
Yeah.
it's been an amazing experience, and I never would have thought that I've been able to do something like this
Right.
had it not been competing in Miss America.
Right. What about you, Tiara?
So, my social impact, like you mentioned, I've been a volunteer with the National Psoriasis Foundation since 2013. So, I've been involved for a minute. And I decided to become a volunteer because unfortunately, my mother and uncle both suffer with psoriasis and
Mm-hmm.
psoriatic arthritis.
Oh.
And so, growing up as a little girl, I can always remember my mother having these days where she would be up. I'm a very active child, still am,
Mm-hmm.
where my mother was always going different places with me. And when it really hit me that I want to be a volunteer is when I went on this field trip, and my mother was a chaperone, but she could not get around like the other chaperones.
Oh
She was just
wow.
hurting with her joints and just having a really bad day. And that's when I realized that this just a simple rash. You can't just go to Walgreens or CVS and pick up a simple ointment and it go
Right.
away. That it is something that can affect and attack the joints where
Mm.
people cannot move and walk around. Where one day they can be up and walking and running, and then the next they can't get up off the couch. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's something that I've experienced with both my mother and uncle, and just the embarrassment from people not being educated about psoriasis. They think that it's contagious, that they can catch it. So that discrimination from, I can remember my uncle telling me he was embarrassed to give money to the cashiers because his hands would be deformed, or what they would think would be deformed from psoriatic arthritis. And my
Mm-hmm.
mother on days not wanting to go get a pedicure because of the scars that were left on her legs from psoriasis. And
Right.
so I've been have during as being a volunteer, I've really tried to bring awareness and to raise awareness, because I think that's the best way that you can kind of combat these different misleading examples that people have, or
Mm-hmm.
misconceptions of psoriasis and psoriatic arthritis. So, what I've been able to do as a volunteer is actually be a committee member with the National Psoriasis Foundation, where I've been able to go to the FDA and speak to the board of directors about trying to have better medications on the market,
Mm-hmm.
so that those that take these different biologic medications don't have such harsh side effects to them, because there
Wow.
are children that suffer with psoriasis and
Mm-hmm.
psoriatic arthritis. So just imagine a child taking this medication just to be able to walk, and then it shuts down their organs.
Oh
So that
goodness.
was something that we were able to combat there. And
Mm-hmm.
then last year I was able to go to Capitol Hill and be an advocate in that way with step therapy laws and trying to reform that, so that when you go to the doctor and the doctor prescribes you a medication, then you automatically get that medication. The insurance company doesn't try to give you
Oh,
the
something else.
lesser
Right.
form of
Yeah.
that that's less expensive. So
Right.
it's something that we're continuing to work on. And like Brianna mentioned, it's something, our causes are both something that we're so passionate about. And it's something that I will continue to advocate for until we finally find a cure for
Mm-hmm.
psoriasis and psoriatic arthritis.
I know Kim Kardashian suffers from psoriasis, and I see on the show
She
she tries
does.
to do so much to try to get it under control.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just so crazy. You can have flare ups. Like, my mom had psoriasis covered over 80% of her body
Oh
because
my
she broke
goodness.
her leg. And so, you can be in a car accident. You can have a child who hurts themselves on the playground that
Hmm.
kind of sparks up their disease and kind of brings it to light. And that can
Oh.
be so dangerous and so dramatic for a young child and just for an adult as well. So we're
Hmm.
continuing to learn more and more about psoriasis. Thankfully, there are different biologic medications out there. I'm sure y'all have all seen the advertisements for psoriasis and psoriatic arthritis.
Hmm.
So it really is progressing, and it's turned into something that isn't as severe like it has been in the past
Right.
with all these different educational tools.
Brianna, I'm a teacher like you, and one thing that I have noticed, and I mentioned this to Miss Oklahoma when I interviewed her, a lot of parents don't like getting their children diagnosed with something,
Hmm.
and I don't know what can be done about that. Like, there's kids in the class with these conditions, and
Yeah.
the parents don't want them diagnosed. I don't know what can be
Right.
done about that.
And it's just, and I think that's definitely an issue of awareness and education.
Mm-hmm.
There's still a stigma when it comes to autism, or in, I guess, in Miss Oklahoma's choice, like, or position, learning disabilities, any
Right.
kind of thing that we're so afraid of your child or you yourself being labeled as different. And I think it's so important to raise awareness and educate ourselves on getting a diagnosis for autism is not a death sentence. Like, it's just something that it's able to you're able to, with that diagnosis, get more resources, get more help, get more assistance,
Hmm.
and their child will be better off because they have that diagnosis, because then able to get the resources they need,
Right.
to be successful in the classroom and at home, and with their families. So that's something that I've been able to do also, is work with parents and talk to parents in the community about autism and why it's not something that's this scary thing that we
Yeah.
should try to avoid even talking about. And it's something that
Right.
we need
Right.
to be aware about.
Hmm.
And how can we help, and how can we make somebody have a better quality of life.
Okay, I have your talent videos. You are so talented, so I definitely wanted to play them for the viewers. But before I do, can you just talk about how you chose the song that you did, and then we'll quickly play the videos.
Yeah, so my talent, I performed Nezun Dorma,
Hmm.
which comes from the opera Turandot. And so for me, I've always been interested in being a singer. My mother was a singer. And so automatically, when I got in this organization, I thought, I really want to sing. That was after I danced for like 10 years and then
Oh,
decided
you
that wasn't
dance
for
too.
me. I
Hmm.
did. And so I just fell in love with singing and really fell in love with Broadway and operas and different arias. And a lot of people, were asking me, Nezun Dorma is usually performed by a tenor, a male.
Right.
And they're like, why are you choosing this as a female? But honestly, the first time that I fell in love with this song was when Aretha Franklin did it.
I heard of that.
And she performed and did a beautiful, phenomenal job. And she's not someone we consider to be an opera singer. So I think that kind of opened the doors for anybody to be able to sing this song. And I think anyone can connect with it, whether you're a male or a female, because it's talking about the struggles with love. And it's almost like a romantic comedy. So I had so much fun being able to perform that at Miss America. And I also performed it at Miss Alabama.
Cool. And what was your song that you performed, Brianna?
It was called Piano Fantasy, and it's a classical piece. I've always played classical when it comes to performing, especially when I was competing for Miss Tennessee. It's
Hmm.
just like my favorite genre to play because it's technical, but still, it's just like fun to play for some reason.
Hmm.
So I always knew that I wanted to play a classical piece, something that was dramatic, but still very emotional, because that's just the kind of pianist that I am. I've
Right.
never been like a super flashy, like Great Balls of Fire.
Yeah.
That's very popular in Tennessee, but that's never been my style. So I was just glad that I was able to stay true to myself,
Hmm.
and just thinking, I've been playing piano for so long, and I know my piano teacher growing up never would have thought that I would be up on the Miss America stage performing piano, and my family never thought I would do that, and so it was cool to just experience that and say that I got to perform piano at Miss America. Like,
Hmm.
who, like, that's just crazy. It still just trips me out every
Right.
time.
All right. So for the viewers, here's talent from Miss Alabama, Tiara Pennington, and Miss Tennessee, Brianna Mason. Tiara, I love your voice. I absolutely love your voice. Brianna, I play the piano as well. And once I played a recital in college, and my hands were like shaking the whole time, but I played it very well. What advice would you give girls who are competing today? So you guys have both been successful. What advice would you give for girls who are competing?
Um, one piece of advice that I always like to give
Hmm.
is a piece of advice that I once got
Okay.
from Miss Tennessee 2016, Grace Burgess. And she said it was our orientation, and she was addressing the class. And she said, if you want to be Miss Tennessee, you have to, every decision that you make leading up to the competition,
Mm-hmm.
um, you need to, it needs to be something that helps you get closer to that goal.
Right.
And each day, act and practice like you already are
Right.
Miss Tennessee. And that's something that I held true from the moment she said that.
Mm-hmm.
And um, ever since then, every decision that I made when it came to my platform or my social impact, my talent, do I want to to go hang out with my friends, or do I
Right.
need to go and practice my talent, or
Yeah.
go over interview questions, whatever that may be. I was making decisions that got me closer to my goal
Yes.
of becoming Miss Tennessee. And then, especially this past year, um, the work that I was doing with my social impact, I was already doing it as if I was Miss Tennessee.
Right.
I wasn't just staying in my local title holder space. I was doing things statewide.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was able to interview for the job of Miss Tennessee, I could tell the judges, here's what I've already done, and here's what I have set up to start doing once I
Right.
become Miss Tennessee.
Nice.
And so that's something that I've been able to share with the next class, and they're just doing such an amazing job and doing such great things in their communities already. So
Cool. What about you, Tiara? What advice would you give?
Yeah, I totally agree with that, that you have to really be connected with your community.
Hmm.
And I think that goes with your local title. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
girls think, oh, I'm not Miss Alabama or I'm not Miss Tennessee. I'm just a local title holder. But when you connect with your community and you're working super hard on your social impact and your talent and you're putting in that work, then you're
Mm-hmm.
already doing what Miss Alabama or Miss Tennessee or any state
mm-hmm.
title holder is already doing. I
Right.
mean, it's a PR job, relations job, where your
Mm-hmm.
job is to represent a station and to be able to go out in your community with others. And if you can do spark up a conversation with someone who may have had a bad day, making their day a lot better,
Mm-hmm.
then you've accomplished a huge and tremendous job. And another thing I would say, or piece of advice, would be confident and comfortable in who you already are.
Mm-hmm.
And just realize that if you've already worked super, super hard, then don't worry so much about winning as just going and being the best that you possibly can be. Because I think sometimes when you just focus on winning, 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 and you don't win, because chances probably are you're going to more likely walk away being happy with whatever placement you got than actually walking away with the title. So just being comfortable in that, and don't take yourself too seriously. I mean, I'm a state title holder, but I don't do everything perfectly, and I never will, because I'm not
Mm-hmm.
God, I'm not Jesus, I'm not a perfect person. And so you
Right.
just have to learn to go with the flow and enjoy the moment and enjoy the time that you have to make a difference and to grow during this whole
Mm-hmm.
experience.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I think that this is my last question. What's next for you after you give up the crown?
Well, we've all gotten extended
Right.
year of service, but luckily, at least my organization is allowing me to move on with my career as an educator.
Right.
So recently accepted a new position at a school in Nashville, my hometown, teaching first grade, and
Mm-hmm.
so that's what I taught the year before I was Miss Tennessee. And so I just cannot, oh, I cannot wait to be back in the
Aw.
classroom with some first graders who are probably a little thrown off because their kindergarten year got all messed up. But I'm just looking forward to getting them back on track. um, first graders are actually a little bit like us. We don't know what's going on, but we're going to keep going. And
Yeah.
I'm just looking forward to getting back into my career as an educator, and moving on with my professional and personal life. But also, I also really want to continue being involved in the organization.
Uh-huh.
Not sure what that role may be, but I just want to see the best for the Miss Tennessee organization, and I want other women in the state to reap the same benefits that I have. So I definitely want to still stay involved.
Cool. And what's next for you, Tiara?
So I'm also fortunate to have a board that was like, we understand that these are unprecedented times, but we want you to go back to school because education is the most important thing. So we're going to work with you on
Cool.
being Miss Alabama and going back to school. So I will go back to school in the fall. Super excited about that.
Hmm.
I miss everything that college life has to offer and just furthering, learning about what it means to be an attorney one day. Those are the
Nice.
long-term goals. I want to go to law school. I'm a political science major, so I'm super excited about that. And I've already got my apartment picked out, and I'm
Cool.
just thinking about like all the cool little trinkets I'm going to put in my apartment and just feeling like a college student again, but
Right.
also getting to walk the college campus as Miss Alabama. It's going to be pretty cool.
Cool. Well, I want to thank you guys for taking time to talk to me. I really enjoyed it. I'm honored to have had this time to talk to you. I know a lot of people will enjoy this interview. So, Brianna, congratulations on getting engaged. I want to say that
Thank
again.
you.
And yeah, once again, thanks a lot and have a good day. And I look forward to, amazing things from you guys in the future.
Thank
All right. Thanks a
you.
lot.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.
To the viewers, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching the show. If anybody would like to donate, you can donate to my Cash App is $JTROBIN, or you can reach out to me at my email address JasonTimothyRobinson@gmail.com about advertising, sponsoring, and yeah, thanks again for watching the show, and everybody have a good day.